Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. It's your favorite N-word, Terrence Prescott Barnes. It's time for another folklore piece. This time it'll be about Thunderos group. And here we go. Inspiring me, a love for my smarts and for humans. Let no thirst for profit, seeking for renown or admiration, take away from my calling. Keep within me strength of body, mind, and spirit, ever ready with alertness to help and relieve poor and rich, good and bad, enemy as well as friend. To any sufferer, let me see only the human being. Back when and sometimes before they were 13, they somehow got past their parents to put in an application for the superhero guild. Every last one of them. 'Cause as children, they all made vows with their aspirations of becoming doctors and heroes. All 13 of them went to whatever summer camps they went to and made relations completely possible because they felt like they had to. The only two that didn't do that was Price and Isla Faye. They took their doctor aspirations to the galactic forces. Yet the Thunderos group exists for those doctors to be that also want to be heroes. They were established in 2700. It was a great year for humanity. A whole union of doctors were trying to figure out how to extend human life. Regardless of anyone's genetic pool, they developed a vaccine that fixes human DNA, RNA, in a way to where everyone is guaranteed a natural life course of 100 years from the second they leave the miracle chamber, the womb, or otherwise artificial. To answer the question, no. Since making the vaccine, no one has lived past 100 years. No one has to deal with the cancer scares either, Lou Gehrig or Los Angeles Jones disease. Humans still succumb to viruses and bacteria though. Those could still be fatal, but all in all, it fixed the fear of death. Now, it's just a long coast through the sea of stars. A long coast of trying not to be lost in space, murdered, or mutilated. The vaccine covered all organs, every inch of a human vessel, to densify bones, to make healing faster, to pit puberty activation at age 13, to support static, one-and-done vaccines made out of nanotechnology, and gearing genetics to be strength-based until the day they naturally die, meaning that the wear and tear on the human body has been greatly reduced. That doesn't include magical healing, but it includes nerve cell healing. They called this vaccine plasma-bound, so that humans can survive outside of Earth's atmosphere freely. In turn, when super beings started to get more than super, many of them have been able to get powerful enough to withstand outer space's abyss temperatures. There's a lot of today's 1000 watch list that can train to become even more powerful in outer space. In another turn, that's why there are so many unmanned forming planets and why humans have traversed so far into outer space. The Milky Way is the humanoid center. From there, billions and billions of miles into galaxies 4, 5, 10, 11, and 12. They are the most close, averaging a good 7.83 million light years away each. 5 different directions with a few galaxies in between each, with the debris collecting spaceships. Plenty of space highways are connected in 360 degrees between all galaxies that humans have collected data on. With dimensional workers in line, there is so much technology and the data the humans have siphoned through to make this vaccine. Fucking around with silicone-based life forms have helped. Fucking around with plenty of other based life forms has helped. Out of a 73% capacity, humanoid DNA RNA is human. The rest is mixed with other life forms to sustain humans for eternity. In this immortal universe, it's simply the thing they wanted. How they decide to record history is still up in the air because many world leaders know their year, 10,000, is very close. Damn near around the corner. That's a subject for another day, but medicine has made it possible for humans to reach and man 13 different galaxies. Super beings made it so that they could take over any planet with the right circumstantial atmosphere. Thunderos group are the main system of doctors and scientists that deal with that kind of data. They have doctors and scientists by the hundreds in this group, and they are segmented by age as well as super beings or normal beings. The super beings are all of the field agents in the top 13 in the age range of 30 through 40, are the main Thunderos of today. Before I get into the characters and their backgrounds, you need to know that in year 4000, Thunderos group made a new gene for humans called the humanoid red pulse signal. Technology has built a new gene that is hitched to the life support watchers of the universe. It's a giant machine that keeps track of every heartbeat ever born. If a death isn't recorded as a murder, accident, or natural causes, the end result is lost in space. The gene behind it is a single string of nerve endings around the heart. Because the brain has its own electricity signal, the signal attached to the heart is picked up on well into conception development. The machine records that person's information before they are born and only knows their pulse as that person. The humanoid red pulse signal doesn't have the ability of picking up on anyone's whereabouts, only their proximity to any technology. The gene therapy vaccine implemented to all dimensions of solar systems was happily accepted by everyone. This system is in all dimensions and spread across all satellites of the real world, ranging between all solar systems within the man's solar systems and adjacent solar systems outside of the sphere. Now, when their lives started, they were all brought into a rather radically intelligent world. So many things any child could be inspired by, but believe it or not, humanity still has that intention of trying to get their smart kids to become doctors, lawyers, or bankers. In their cases, all of them fell in love with stethoscopes and the doctor's atmosphere. Simply being in waiting rooms, seeing the white coats, learning what medicine does, not being afraid of needles, and understanding the meaning of life to prolong life. Set them up to be sent to specific summer camps. With them all being super beings, they all learned about the Thunderos group quite early, because it's the organization to work for, whether you're super or not, when your aspirations revolve around medicine. Inspirations list begins now. For the kids that attended Camp Yellow Stars, they will be guided into archaeology mostly. This summer camp was built on exploration of tombs, meteor fields, space fields, and temples. Even temples on unmanned planets for 60 days. They get to see a whole lot while learning about doctorate things and medicine. They call it Yellow Stars because this summer camp touches all 13 galaxies, always starting each trip in the Milky Way. It's located on a cruise battleship. It is the entire spaceship, protected by the galactic forces and whoever is powerful enough to pass all of their tests otherwise. They take up to 5,000 kids each time. May not always be 5,000 occupants, but that's their limit. They have 50 teams to take care of 100 kids each. Their teams consist of 25 doctors and scientists of various kinds. Those doctors welcome young Rockberry, Clover, Amonte, and Kingman. Their friendship started on the first day of camp. Rockberry was left out for a while because she bunks with the girls. Then they mixed the kids to put them in their master groups. That's when all four of them met. Their group was called Team Epsilon, made up of the 100 most likely to break into their powers before teenhood kind of kids. There they were, the four top names on that list, and no, you don't deserve to know the order in which they were put in, but you do deserve to know that they broke into their powers that summer, along with a handful of others, but they were the first four, for a long time too. Then spent a lot of time messaging their parents when they could, just to beg them about Thunderos. The counselors wasted no time with getting them information on the low, and regardless of how many no's they heard from their parents, they made a way to stay connected during their childhood to their teenhood. Eventually finding ways to physically connect, to literally lay some villains down as teen heroes. But it took them until they were 17 to finally get on board of the Thunderos spaceship, the Ingenitis, an azure spaceship with unmellow accents. Looks like a dream cruiser, sitting at spaceship size 5 and armed to be a battleship. It has survived the test of time with only 572 hard repairs, because the many crews of it never want this beacon of humanity to fall. It's protected in a sense of end all to protect it. The teens had no problem with upholding that sentiment. Besides, it travels with 6 Galactic Forces warships at all times. Rockberry, of Korean descent, superpower is vegetation golem. Kingman, of Scandinavian descent, Superpower is Silver Mantis. Clover, of Brazilian descent. Superpower is Vegetation Bunny. Amante, of Italian descent. Superpower is Light. They are all archaeologists. Rockberry is the botanist. Kingman is the biologist. Clover is the pediatrician. And Amante is the fringe scientist. At that time, the crew of Thunderos that was in charge of overseeing the teams consisted of the following. Captain Mello, he's an astronomist. His superpower is electricity. Soriana, she's a microbiologist. Her superpower is weather. Black Rex, he's an endologist. His superpower is black hole Tyrannosaurus Rex. Missing Bullets, she's a ballistic analyst. Superpower is X. Red, he's a nutritionist. Superpower is fire. Skip to My Blade, she's an aerologist. Superpower is Sword of the Universe. And Milo Miller, he's a psychiatrist. Superpower is pollution. Now for the kids that attended Camp Calypso Chains, they will be guided into adventuring mostly, in the sense of raising heroes to be that will travel around and heal and learn. Cultivating a sense of culture swapping helped create heroes for the future without a sense of fear to travel to third world areas and third world space colonies. In short, survivalist branding. This summer camp instilled in everyone, individual, surviving, in a sense of preparing them to be power suit wielders that will in fact go into unmanned territories for forming purposes to develop more technological advancements. Instead of being team-oriented like other summer camps, the handful of kids that come here get fitted for the unknown. Fitted with several classroom scenarios that teach them about all of the great humans of history that was for us all. In a sense, of the characters of this story that weren't chasing doctorate aspirations attended this summer camp too. Treasures, Wink, and Neotary would be examples. Going to this summer camp several years in a row so they can build on to their perfect power suit dreams. Phasery, Full Glow, Avalon, and Bizarra eventually became inseparable by the time they were all 12. 4 would be their lucky number 2, but would make a precedent of creating a scholastic team of world-altering might. They figured that their superpower combinations of unicorn magnetism, 2 dream wielders, and a spellbinder of magistry with the categories of life, manipulation, ray, and sound could endure a lot of world tripping. They were right. Thunderos had eyes on them since they were 9 and they didn't even know it. All that time of becoming best friends didn't affect their dreams of mental therapy, psychology, and aerology, so that when they aren't out collecting samples or stopping samples, they are attending to anyone they find out in the wilderness that got there before them. They became very important lifesavers eventually. They had no qualms with doing whatever it took to get incredulously important data. Bizarra, of British descent. Superpower is unicorn magnetism. Full Glow, of Lebanese descent. Avalon, of Lebanese descent. Twins with the superpower of dream. Phasery, of Colombian descent. Superpower is magistry. Categories of life manipulation, ray, and sound. They are all adventurers, under the primary job titles of therapist, psychologist, and aerologist. For the 2 kids who are both lucky to be born to a parent of the galactic forces, they will be going to all of the camps gearing towards them. Militant parents didn't treat them too hard, let them have some freedoms, and their biggest freedoms were the summer camps, where they got to experience partying with no curfew because the counselors instilled in them that once they get their badges, the likelihood of them having a social life disappears. Galactic forces do get their off times, but being a doctor and an officer, say hello to medical police. Kidding. But that's an ode to having a badge and a medical license. Why not have a hilarious life when you're unfortunately booked and blessed beyond repair? Price and Isla Faye have one thing in common that's a long thing to have in common. Keeping it beautiful and safe out there for everyone is what heroes do. What they wanted was far-fetched though, but Thunderos couldn't deny their brain power, their magical might, and how their parents raised them. How can any board of directors say no to a pediatrician and a fringe scientist that can pass doctorate exams as well as perform surgery? All of the times they spent in classes were never in vain. The little partying they did was, though. They did their parents proud every summer, fall, winter, and spring until it was time for them to be on their own. And yes, they met each other at the same summer camp when they were 8 and vowed to be at the same summer camp until they age out of it. Camp Fate 13, all the way in the Holly North. Best friends since. At the current day and age, they are stationed in Galaxy 8, the fairest sky galaxy, sitting pretty with the pretty Galaxy Commissioner Melrose, doing special cases that revolve around child investigations and why they have all that power. Not even in the double digits yet. If you ever catch them out in the city, they'll keep it pretty, and you should too. They have both trained in the art of no bad vibes. They judge every single human they come in contact with. They are nosy for the right reasons. You've been warned. Price, of Jamaican descent. Superpower is currency. Isla Faye, of British descent. Superpower is Matism fire. Matism form is cannon. They are both Galactic Force officers. Price is the pediatrician and Isla Faye is the fringe scientist. Then there's the worst, Scaros and Dalizzle. Unlike the other groups, these three defied hella odds to be with each other and to make Thunderos let them be on their actual ship more than necessary. It's even odd in the sense that all of the groupings have been on this ship before but never crossed paths until they all graduated high school. That's when they were all told that they have spots in the field agent department. I'll digress into the area never. You're here because you know they have the brawn and the brain. Lastly, these three met the other three groups and have been the only other kids that have done it, meaning they were indeed on the Enginitis entirely too often. Moving onward, Camp Crystal Lake, Solar System 13, the Holly North, was where they met and changed a lot of things for a lot of people. The worst and Scaros were quite acquainted already, met when they were 7 when their parents migrated to the same city. A lot of bonding happened in that year, but it got worse when Dalizzle met them when they were 8. They were all on the top list of that camp. A well-protected Gruntage wielder, protected by others, but mostly himself. And to remind you, Gruntage is a superpower that controls viruses and bacteria. Then there's the Grand Dragon Tamer to be with psychic powers that match and an imagination wielder of life, fear, glitter, and diamond. Her might was just ridiculous and always wanted to do good with it. But it was in how she saw the Gruntage and psychic wielder, imagining a future with such might and trying to assemble other kinds of might around theirs could be the goal of a lifetime. Besides, her parents were so rich, she could literally do whatever she wanted. Most of it revolved around black market buy-ins that would ensure she could use her powers before double digiting, proving that she could make all of their childhood heroism dreams come true. They indeed remained best friends. The gems around it revolved in how they never asked for money because they were too busy gaining power. There's no price on it. But Dalizzle had exact clones running around, because she got a vial of a super mutagen concentrate that's safe for all of her DNA RNA. Perfectly giving her parents' lines allowed her to be a genius of a frequent traveler. From buying protection to buying clean routes, they were everywhere they needed to be. Sometimes where they shouldn't have been, but always with the intelligence, and yes, it was ridiculous. Cause the worst was always hunted because of his superpowers, but always a step ahead because of his genius. That turned up their legend of getting a spot on the 1000 watch list whenever and literally surviving without adult supervision sometimes. The Thunderos group respected it because of their sense of humor. Were still full of youth and aged with them properly. The crew overseeing the teen heroes were always impressed by them and always gave them the responsibility they asked for. The worst was healing a lot of third world victims and creating a virus that would permanently give him and his friends the ability of flight. Scaros had a dragon that grew up with him, Mesa, a beautiful wingspan having wisteria-colored dragon, shared the same sentiments as Scaros. Evil kind cannot survive. Everyone was enthralled in their siblingness. Then there's Dalisa, a hyper-in-the-mind genius who created a cheat sheet. Instead of using money for evil, she used it for good. Learned how to create silent clones that mimicked their host without a hitch. While they were hopping worlds, they had clones soaking up real-world time, then meld with their host once they get back, as if they were downloading a hologram into oneself as an update. It was a little case of finding a level Omega crystallization welder to give her a human-sized chunk of fortified and enchanted diamond. Then using magical might with a totem of power to pass her and her friends through the chunk, allowed a perfect clone to walk right out of the chunk under the guise of Dalisa's thoughts. Because of her best friend's bonds with them, the clones acted like best friends to the guys. All of the time. Every time. Parents never clued in on it until they graduated high school. Their entire time, doing too much and becoming too powerful way ahead of time. They were awarded with a spaceship each, from the Thunderos group, as gifts for graduating high school like normal kids before hitting college at normal ages, all the while saving millions of lives already. They were the worst spaceship, the Green Anchor, Scarrow spaceship, the Silver Skull, and Dalisa spaceship, the Outer Angel. Young 18-year-olds with so much responsibility on their hands already, and some of that responsibility came with saying nah to the oaths doctors take. I swear to fulfill's meaning has changed over the millennia for the safety and sanctity of humans. In body, mind, and spirit, the superheroes are believed to be the world leaders nowadays, and some people have vowed eons ago to let heads roll. If evil exists and shows itself, end it. The disregard to save the mentally insane disappeared when cyber wielders developed a way to study brains. Being able to take what gods call personal memories as a keepsake forever holds a person's current mental state as data in the digital realms. Figuring out that abuse can drive a bad brain down the wrong paths faster helped with the fight to get rid of bad humans and bad genes. Going closer towards the direction of eradicating the darkness of humanity by making the vaccines. In short, bad guys don't get help like they used to. The worst, of Afghani-Russian descent, superpower is Gruntage. Scarrows, of Surinamese descent, superpower is Psychic. Dalisa, of Jamaican descent, superpower is Imagination. Main categories are life, glitter, fear, and diamond. They are all archaeologists. The worst is a physician, Scarrows is a nutritionist, and Dalisa is an aerologist. In length, all of these ventures and all the knowledge these characters soaked up created grand heroes. The worst, Scarrows and Dalisa, outside of their alter egos, are college professors of the Coconut Institute of Higher Learning, where they deal with a plethora of doctorate programs 6 months out of the year. When they aren't in the classrooms, they are saving lives and taking notes for future classes, as well as taking the notes from all of the other heroes of their generation. Whenever they want to learn something new, they'll sign up for one of their classes and hold down a room in one of their mansions, which is very close to the college they profess at. They are considered remarkable citizens of our universe because of how they teach the masses, then protect the masses as if super beings never get tired. Price and Isla Faye happens to be the most busy because they deal with fellow humans on a regular, versus Phasery, Full Glow, Avalon, and Bizarra. They are always adventuring, and sometimes ventures lead to nothing but data. They may see some of the most luxurious pieces of untouched universe yet, but aren't always out on the battlefield. Same goes with Rockberry, Kingman, Clover, and Amante. While they are out collecting samples, they see some of the most frightening uncharted things. Temple raiding across planets that no longer have intelligent species on them leads them to some wild monsters. Their worlds are closed off, just like the worst Scarrows and Dalisas. Now think of it like this. Protecting children and protecting other children from those children versus socializing and traveling while being heroes versus knowledge hunting versus collegiate endeavors and save the world's endeavors is a lot to consume. There's this thing the crew of the Ingenitis says when the 13 of them get together. They call it the Thunder. because they boisterously get into all of their findings, often in the war room. Just talking about a discovery of intelligence here, problem solving there, student behaviors, citizen behaviors, whimsical behaviors for the laughter of it all, who got the most punches in during their last brawl, and some other things, under the umbrella of protecting one another. Ever since they all met after high school, they have all been best friends, purposely, so they can all live a full life like they mean to. All of them love to discover new ways of handling villainy. It's die-hard exciting to them. Being able to lift rubble, save lives, perform surgery in open fields, all the while biding their time until they are under that stethoscope again, the giant blue-silver one in the war room that was designed by one of the first superhero kind of the Thunderos. A lot of humans believe it's a beacon, a monument of safety, the reputation of all superhero kind of the Thunderos deals with. Not any of them biting the dust as long as they are contracted. Even through space war times, even during natural space occurrences, even through all of the magnificently over-the-top, superhero this, supervillain that kind of super being brawls of no return, always come out on top. The way these 13 instill in the whole organization, unity and might, is untouchable. Even untouched by super leagues built by families. What humans rule as the I must survive sentiment, they fulfill at a 1,000,000% capacity. They are the reason why all this technology exists, the reason why all of this life exists. Before I free your brain, the performing surgery in open fields is a heaven of a feat to accomplish. There are still some humans that prefer medicine over the supernatural. Those get treated respectfully if the current situation prompts it. If a life is in immediate danger, that will go against a person's wishes. Dialysal and phasery are capable of doing small, no anesthesia needed surgeries, right then and there. One example being, using their imagination and spell work to create magnifying glasses, lasers, and whatever tools needed to perform surgery. Dialysal is known for seeking out blind children and restoring their sense of sight. Phasery is known for seeking out children without sound and restoring their eardrums. With them both having life as a category, they can repair anyone in a small area by inducing a systemic time loop of healing. They will hoist up a little operating room, and whoever is the expert will perform the surgery with everyone else backing the doctor up. If you understand that, you will understand that the Thunderos group has worked with all factions of the superhero and super warrior guilds. Now keep it peaceful, and don't be out there being too brave. These healers don't exist in this world, but you'll love them to death if you were in theirs. Your favorite N-word out. Mwah.